Today I'm going to explain the movie The Belko Experiment, released in the year 2016. The movie starts and we see Mike Milch, an employee of Belko Industries, while driving to work, is stopped by street vendors selling Lucky handmade dolls. As he sits there, his eye catches a scary mask on the side of the road. These masks are on sale by another street vendor, and as he keeps looking at these masks, totally unaware of what is going on around him, he is startled by another vendor selling dolls. The scene then changes and we see a building in a secluded area. Outside the building, there are a lot of security cars, and it seems like this building is really important. It is then revealed that this is actually the building of Belko Industries. We then see Barry Norris, also of Belko Industries, arrives at the office building in Bogota, Colombia, to find unfamiliar security guards turning away the local Colombian staff at the gate. It is made abundantly clear that visitors are not at all allowed to enter the building. The scene then changes to the inside of the building. It is shown that this company cares a great deal for its employees. They care about their food, their comfort, and their security a lot. The company has provided the employees with different means of enjoyment within the building so that they stay relaxed. They have also given the employees nice houses and cars. The scene then changes to the security room. In this security room, there are dozens of screens, and on these screens, the security team is able to look at every corner of the building. New employee Danny Wilkins reports for her first day on the job, and is told that a tracking device is implanted in the base of every Belko employee's skull, in case something happens to them. We then go on to see Mike and his girlfriend named Leandra. Mike sees her and gives her the lucky doll he bought from the vendor on the street earlier. Leandra is not too happy about her job, as we go on to see a man named Wendell harassing her constantly, despite the fact that she has made it abundantly clear that she has no interest in him whatsoever. We then go on to see some other characters. We see Danny, Terry, Marty, and Keith. All of them seem a little weirded out as they keep thinking, and something feels out of sorts about today. Mike also notices that things really seem out of sorts. He is looking out the window when he notices an unknown security guard walking toward a room that is closed. That whole area is closed, but Mike does not say anything to that man. He rather goes on to call the head of security to ask him what is going on. Evan Smith, Belko's head security guard, does not know who the new security guards are. This is when there's an announcement on the speaker. Once all the employees show up, a voice on the intercom instructs them to kill 2 of their coworkers, or else there will be consequences. They are told that there are 80 people in this building, and they will be killed soon. The voice then adds that if they all want to survive, they're going to have to make a step for it. They're going to have to kill 2 men in the next 30 minutes, and if they are unable to do it, they're going to have to pay for it. At first, some of the men go on to laugh at this, because they think that someone is just pulling a prank on them. But after a while, some of them start to shiver with fear, because they now feel like this is not a prank, and that they are actually supposed to do what has been told to them. The phone signals and the lights in the building are then cut off. Some of them think about getting out of the building, but as they look on, the whole building is locked up, and they are now trapped inside. They feel like birds in a big cage, at the mercy of their captors now. They then go on to use different weapons to try and open the huge and heavy doors of the building, but it is too strong for them. The doors do not even budge. Some of them then manage to get on the terrace and try to talk to the guards out there, but the guards ignore them, despite seeing that they're calling for help. To make things worse, the AC in the building is also shut off, and it feels like the torture has already begun. Marty goes on to say that he thinks this is one of the company's big tests. They were told that the company could put them through any test. When they are to be tested for something, he says that they must be trying to check how strong their employees physically and mentally are. Some of the employees keep ignoring it still, believing it to be a sick prank. But after the set time ends and the 2 have not been killed, 4 employees die when explosives hidden in their trackers detonate and blow their heads apart. All the others are horrified at the sick sight. All of them then keep running here and there, thinking their colleagues have been shot down. They try to save themselves from the imaginary bullets. A man named Barry comes forward. He finds the courage to take a close look at the bodies around him. When he looks at their heads, he goes on to notice that they have not been shot. Their heads exploded, and it happened using the chip that has been installed in the brains of all the employees. Mike now understands it too. He now realizes that the thing they installed in their heads is actually not a tracker. It is rather a ticking bomb. He now understands why the housekeeping locals were sent home before this mission. It is because the company did not install these trackers into their heads, and that is why they just sent them home. Mike then attempts to remove his tracker with a box cutter, but gives up when the voice threatens to detonate his tracker explosive unless he stops. Mike still does not listen to the voice and keeps trying to get the tracker out of his head. The voice then tells him that they're going to count to 3, and if he is still seen trying to do this, they're gonna kill him right away. Mike is unable to pull it off without anyone's help, and stops before the voice counts to 3. The employees then go on to find out something else. They notice that the whole building has been bugged with small cameras, meaning that their captors can see them every minute they are in this building. Barry now understands the gravity of the situation, and decides to do something about it. He goes to the security head, Evan, and tells him to give up the keys to the armory locker, because they want to get their hands on all the weapons inside. Evan does not give him the keys. Barry goes on to tell him that he is his boss, and that this is an order, but Evan still refuses to do that, and this makes them have a grudge against each other. Barry is really pissed at the guards, but there's only so much he can do about it. They then get to hear the voice again. The group is told that unless 30 of them are dead within 2 hours, 60 will be killed. The voice tells them that they better kill 30 people right away, or 60 are going to lose their lives in a brutal fashion. This is now dependent on them, whether they want to take part in this game or not. The voice tells them that they're going to get the results they want at any cost. They are also told that they are not supposed to tamper with the cameras in the building and the trackers implanted in their heads, and if they do, they will not be warned like Mike. They would rather be killed right away. After this announcement, there's chaos in the building. People are horrified at the realization that they're going to have to kill their own colleagues in order to survive. The people then try to get their hands on any kind of weapons they can find, and they start to snatch things away from each other. Some of them have given up already, and they go on to write the last letters to their loved ones. They split into 2 factions, one led by Mike, who believes that there should be no killing, and one led by Barry, who intends to follow the directions in order to save himself. In the basement, a man named Lonnie loses control over himself because he's just too scared after everything that has happened in the last house. Another man tries to take his weapon from him, and Lonnie ends up killing the man. Danny is also hiding there, but before she's able to tell anyone what Lonnie just did, Lonnie sees her and a fight erupts between the two, with Lonnie ending up getting killed. Mike tries to think of something to save all of them, but Barry is of course in the way. Leandra then comes up with a plan. She goes on to say that they should raise a big banner on the terrace, sending out a signal for help. Barry, however, goes on to remind her that their office is far away from the city. Even if someone does see their banner, by the time they get help from the city police or the rescue operations, it will be over 2 hours, and after 2 hours, 60 of them will be killed. Most of the people still like Leandra's plan, and they start finding things to make and raise that banner. Barry then tries to get his hands on the big torch to make his way out of this place, but Mike and the others see this. They try to stop him because he could get them all in trouble. Barry now holds a grudge against Mike too, and that could very much hurt him going forward. Mike, along with another man, tries to hang the banner, but as they try to do that, guards from downstairs go on to rain down bullets on them. The two still do not stop and keep the banner raised. This is when the voice goes on to tell them not to raise the banner, or all of them will be killed in a moment. Mike still does not stop, and one of his partners then controls him because it could really make them pay a big price. Mike then goes on to realize something. He looks around him and understands that all of these employees belong to different countries, and none of them are local. He now thinks the government is behind this game because this organization is controlled and run by the government. He thinks that this is actually a life-taking psychological test. This is why they have all that ammunition in the building too, and the building is away from the city also explains it. He thinks that this experiment might be legal too, because all the employees were made to sign a document in which it was clear that they could be put through any test whatsoever. Barry then knocks out Mike from behind, and when Wendell tries to take the keys from Evan, the man fights back, but Wendell ends up killing him. This experiment is now taking its real shape. With his group now armed, Barry and Wendell select 30 people, including Mike and Peggy, forcing them to kneel in a line. Barry is also shaken before taking such a big step, but he realizes that this is the only way he might be able to go back to his family. With only 20 minutes remaining in the countdown, Barry begins executing them with a gunshot to the back of the head. Danny, who has been hiding in the basement, sees what is happening and shuts off the building's lights before Mike and several others can be killed. The employees immediately run for cover, as Barry and his group start firing, killing several more people. However, Bradley and Antonio are ganged upon and killed by the employees. During this, Danny goes into the elevator shaft with Roberto. Barry and Wendell hunt down the fleeing employees, as the voice informs them that only 29 have been killed. Then the 2-hour time limit runs out. The voice states that 31 more people will die, including Terry, Leota, Peggy, and Keith, leaving only 16 survivors. All of them are then informed by the voice that, as a final task, the employee who has killed the most people within an hour is going to be spared. Barry finds Danny and Roberto in the elevator shaft. Danny escapes while Roberto is not so lucky, as he is crushed and killed in the elevator shaft. Leandra finds 2 employees, Marty and Chet, collecting the unexploded trackers from the heads of people who have died by other methods. They tell her that they were planning to use them to blow up the wall. However, they are killed by Wendell. Leandra kills Wendell, leaving the final 6 survivors: Vince, Mike, Barry, Danny, Leandra, and cafeteria lady Liesel, who is also killed shortly afterward. Barry shoots Vince and Danny, killing them, and also shoots Leandra. With her dying breath, she proclaims her love to Mike. Mike loses it, and in a rage, Mike has a brutal fight with Barry, in which Barry fights well and gets the better of him at first. However, Mike fends Barry off using a tape dispenser, which ends in Mike bludgeoning Barry to death. The building is then unsealed, as he is the last survivor. The soldiers escort him to the hangar next door. There he meets the owner of the voice, who goes on to reveal that they're part of an international organization studying human behavior. As he and his colleagues begin to question Mike about his emotional and mental state, Mike notices a panel of switches that correspond to the 80 employees. Having planted the trackers that Marty collected on the soldiers and the voice, he flips every remaining active switch except his own. The trackers explode, killing the soldiers and wounding the voice, before Mike then goes on to grab a gun and kills the remaining scientists. The voice attempts to reason with Mike and appeal to his moral beliefs, but Mike kills him. He then leaves the warehouse in a state of shock. He is traumatized. It becomes apparent that Mike is one of many sole survivors from similar experiments, being watched by another group through security cameras. A new voice states, "End Stage 1, commence Stage 2." And with that, the movie comes to an end. Subscribe for more videos like this. Turn on the notification and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.